there could be nobody in the U.S. Senate who comes close to the example of personal courage and personal integrity under the worst possible conditions than what John McCain has given us. He has received many A awards, Friend of the Taxpayers Awards, from the National Taxpayers Union. Now, John has been wrong a time or two. I would say when he's wrong, he's really wrong, and when he's right, he's really right. And fortunately, the ratio of really right to really wrong has been really good. And he will give us a few remarks and take a few questions. Senator McCain.
Well, thank you, Dave, for that kind introduction. Thank you all. Ken Blackwell, thank you. It's wonderful to see you. A great fiscal conservative and a great American. Ken, it's great to see you here. And Congressman Tom Price, who has a 2-hour presentation for you, is here. And Tom, thank you for your outstanding work. He's a great conservative and great fiscal conservative. Right there is Congressman Tom Price, who will speak to you in a few minutes. Look, I just want to talk to you for a few minutes. You know what's going on. And never in history is the NTU needed as badly as they are today. So, Dave, thank you for your leadership for many years. And it's great for you to spend time in Iowa at the Iowa State Fair and have a pork chop on a stick and a deep-fried Twinkie and see the butter, the cow cut out of butter, and always nice to see the prize-winning pig there at the Iowa State Fair. I saw the hog, I believe is the proper name. And I saw one last year. He weighed 1,197 pounds. A remarkable creature. But anyway, we learned a lot at the Iowa State Fair. So, listen, I don't need to tell you all about the seriousness of the fiscal crisis that we're facing today. But, you know, again, I know you know these facts, but they bear repeating. Our current national debt is $11.5 trillion. The projected deficit for this year, as you know, is $1.8 trillion. The Labor Department just announced that employers cut another 787,000 jobs in May, and as you know, the unemployment rate is 9.4%, the highest since 1983. Now let me just mention a few things to you that the administration has done in response to this dire economic situation. We enacted a stimulus spending bill totaling $1.1 trillion. We gave the Troubled Asset Relief Program, known as TARP, $700 billion, with the full knowledge that the administration will request hundreds of billions of dollars more. We passed a $410 billion omnibus appropriations bill, voted up with over 9,000 unnecessary earmarks. In March, the Federal Reserve pumped an additional $1.2 trillion into our financial markets. We poured tens of billions of dollars into domestic auto manufacturers. And by the way, who here 5 months ago believed that the United States government would own Chrysler and General Motors? And the inevitable happened, and now the American people are the not-so-proud owners of 60% of enormous bankrupt corporations. And to top it all off, we passed a budget resolution of $3.5 trillion. Now, that's not bad for a few months, is it? And now, after spending trillions of dollars in this short time, the President is calling for the reinstitution of pay-as-you-go budget rules. Thank God. Even though there's a $2.5 trillion exception to it. So, he would have had to work with Congress to prioritize our spending and make the tough decisions. When it comes to fiscal discipline, the President talks a good game, but we need to see some action. And the best place to start is to call for an end of the earmarks right now. And my friends, last year, one of the 3 debates the President and I had in Oxford, Mississippi, the President said, "We need earmark reform. And when I'm President, I'll go line by line to make sure we're not spending money unwisely," unquote. And then when the omnibus bill came up, they said, well, that was last year's business. It had 9,000 earmarks on it, 9,000. Last year's business? I don't think so. So anyway, They are a small percentage of the budget, and people will keep saying that to you. My friends, it breeds corruption. It's a gateway drug to corruption. Earmarks are, okay? That's why we have former members of Congress residing in federal prison. That's why we have members of Congress under investigation today, okay? One member of Congress, it was $40,000 in his refrigerator. It's what's called cold cash. Let me remind you that and of course the latest scandal is on the last omnibus bill, 13 earmarks totaling over $10 million directed to clients of the PMA Group, a lobbying firm that was forced to close its doors after the home of its owner and its offices were raided last November by the FBI for suspicious donation practices. Known for its deep ties to Capitol Hill appropriators, namely Representative John Murtha of Pennsylvania and Representative Pete Visclosky of Indiana, the PMA Group had a long and lucrative history of earmarking federal fundings to its clients' pet projects, including approximately $300 million in the FY 2008 Defense Appropriations Bill. Representative Visclosky's office has been subpoenaed as part of the Department of Justice investigation of the PMA Group, leading Representative Visclosky to step down as chairman of the House Energy and Water Appropriations Subcommittee while he's under investigations. Now, my friends, I'm not kidding when I tell you that it's corruption. I've seen it, you've seen it, and it's got to stop. I joined my good friend and colleague, Dr. Tom Coburn, one of the great fiscal conservatives in the history of the United States Senate, in offering an amendment to eliminate the PMA-related earmarks from the spending bill, and we were defeated by a vote of 52 to 43. I was disappointed that anyone in Congress would even consider spending the hard-earned money of American taxpayers on projects secured by lobbyists who now find themselves under federal investigation for corruption. For the Senate, a body who has repeatedly pledged to return ethics to Washington, allowing these provisions to remain was the height of hypocrisy. It was wholly inappropriate and a dereliction of our oversight duties to allow these provisions to become law. Interestingly enough, of the 104 members of Congress who secured funding for PMA clients through last year's defense bill, 87% received campaign contributions from the firm's political action committee and employees totaling over $1.8 million in campaign contributions since 2001. It's called pay to play, my friends, pay to play. And now there are allegations that in early 2005, Representative Murtha added language to a tsunami relief bill to shift $8.2 million earmark from a former client of his brother's lobbying firm to a new client of his brother's lobbying firm. This earmark is now tangled up in a federal indictment alleging that some of the money was skimmed by contractors and a Defense Department employee for their personal use. My friends, I could go on and on. Our current economic situation and our vital national security concerns require now more than ever we prioritize our federal spending. My friends, we've got to get the spending under control. We're committing generational theft, and it's unconscionable and unacceptable, and the American people are beginning to figure it out. Thanks to you. Thanks to NTU. Don't quit, don't give up. We will win, we will prevail, and we will save the next generation from bankruptcy. Thank you, God bless.